everyone dressed up in a school uniform. Well, in The Lord of the Flies by William Golding, the boys had a previous life before they went on into the island. Before they went to the island, they went to a boarding school in Britain. Even on page 18, Golding mentioned that they were in school uniforms, gray, blue, fawn, jacketed, or jerseys. There were badges, mottos even, stripes or of color in their stockings and pullovers. Now, this symbolizes how the boys had laws and order before they went to the island. As a result of living in the island for such a long time, the boys' clothes began to become distressed and destroyed, and they had holes all over them. And also they had face paint, which represented what tribe they were in. And even on page 48, Golding said, except for a pair of tattered shorts held up by his knife belt, he was naked. So basically, their clothes symbolize how they went from law and order to hunting and savagery. In this novel, a group of boys on a plane get left on a deserted island, and that causes them to change their lifestyle. Also, in there had no supervision, which created several problems, and chaos began to rise, which created two separate tribes, Jack's tribe and Ralph's tribe. And Jack and Ralph became enemies. They had several arguments all throughout the book. Several themes in this novel, but one of the most important ones was how young boys lose interest when they look and experience unfortunate things. So one example of this particular theme is when Simon got killed trying to spread knowledge. So he was at a mountain and he saw a paratrooper, and he went back to tell the boys. However, the boys mistaken him for the beast, and they actually killed him. They went and stabbed him to death. Now, he wouldn't have gotten killed if they weren't so caught up with their feelings and perceptions from all the changes that happened when they moved to the island. In this selection, another possible theme would be civilization versus savagery. In the book, Ralph had his own group which valued civilization, laws, order, and Jack had his own group, and they believed in hunting and savagery and living for their own benefit. In the novel, Golding portrayed Ralph's character very well, which helped make him seem as a more realistic character. So what Golding did was Golding explained how Ralph looked. He explained how he had very fair, light-colored hair and fair skin. Out of all the characters in the book, I chose Ralph. Now, Ralph was the protagonist of The Lord of the Flies because he led by example and he had good things going for him. He was the leader of the pack and he had so many ambitions, including when he was on the island. He really wanted to go home and he didn't want to stay on the island forever, so he decided to build a signal fire. He was really passionate about that signal fire and he was so intelligent. He was also courageous, and when the boys couldn't take chances, he took one for them because he was the leader. He used the conch to symbolize how he was the leader, and whenever he wanted to call meetings, he would use the conch and blow on it to call all the boys around. Now, Ralph was one of the main characters, and he did not like savagery. Savagery is when people use violence and stuff like that to come and benefit for themselves. Now, him and Jack were enemies because Ralph was for law and order, however, Jack was for hunting and savagery and brutal acts. He even said on page 91, he said, "What are we, humans or animals or savages? What's grown-ups going to think? Going off, hunting pigs, letting fires out, and now." Ralph, courageous, charming, clever. Friend of Piggy, who loved structure and being in charge. Who hated savagery, loved planning, and took chances. Who feared staying on the island, making poor decisions, and losing all control. Who was driven by his morals and order. Who wanted to be rescued and remain civil. Born in Britain, residing on the island. Anonymous.